Sun Belt time. And when you talk about the Sun Belt, you always have to start with Appalachian State. And that's what we'll do. And we'll start in the East. And Appalachian State should be a strong team again. Year 3 for Sean Clark. He gets Chase Bryce back, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the conference. They got the duo at running back. They got Nate Noel and Cameron Peoples. So they're going to be strong again offensively. You know they're always going to be strong on defense. Schedule-wise, are they going to be able to pull off one of those upsets? They were able to do that last year. Actually, it was, what was it, last year? No, that's right. They almost pulled it off because I remember taking App State in that game against Miami. It was a really close loss, but they covered the spread. This year, they host North Carolina. How about that? North Carolina letting Appalachian State, I guess it must be a home and home. So that's a big opening game for Appalachian State to host North Carolina. Then they go to Texas A&M in week 2. A tough schedule for App State, but they're going to be one of the top dogs once again in the conference.
Go back in there, look at this football program here, Greg. They're all about winning. They've won over 90 games the last 9 years. They have to be the team to beat, if for no other reason, because they play winning football on the mountain in Asheville or Boone. Boone's really right outside of Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah, it's not too far from me.
Well, I know that because I was married there, and it's not too far from you. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
There you go. But they are indeed always a quality football program here, and there will be, again, a quality football program again this year. They continue to keep recruiting real well. They don't rank real strong with returning experience or starters that way this year, but tradition is what it's all about with the Appalachian State, and they have to be a team that is going to have to be a team to beat inside the Sun Belt East Division this year.
Unfortunately, they can't be like a Group of 5 buster because they have to go to Texas A&M.
Yes, they do.
It's too bad. That's just too tough of an ask. Like if they would have beaten North Carolina, which is possible, and run the table, maybe, but not because, look, hey, at least you have a chance. You go to Texas A&M and beat them, and then nobody can hold you out of the playoffs if you run the table, but they're not going to beat Texas A&M.
You don't think they are, huh?
No, I don't think so. But, hey, you know what? They'll probably be in the game because they're very talented. So they're not going to get blown out, that's for sure.
Well,
all right.
Yeah, A&M's got Miami of Florida on deck beyond that. Now they're not going to look past Appalachian State for the Miami of Florida. If they had a Southeast Conference team, that would possibly be an upset. But don't be surprised; bigger upsets have happened before in the world of college football.
Oh, absolutely. So I could see them definitely. What do you think the spread would be in a game like that? Something like 18, 17?
I would say the high teens. Yes,
yeah.
The high teens.
Okay, Marshall is in the Sun Belt Conference. So just that, you have to keep that in mind when you're talking about level of competition. Even though the Sun Belt now is better than the Conference USA. Wouldn't you say that?
I would say that because the USA is, they're depreciating and the Sun Belt's getting better. Yeah. A little bit of a raid on the Conference USA and the Sun Belt's going to benefit from, especially with Marshall being now in the conference.
Yeah, so Marshall and Marshall Appalachian State, that'll be a nice rivalry
yes.
Eventually. So Marshall, it's year 2 for Charles Huff's squad. He loses his quarterback though. I'm not sure that's a big deal because Columbia is now going to be their quarterback. I believe he was a Texas Tech kid. Overall, Ali is their top playmaker, the running back. He's probably up there as the top running back in the entire conference. I really like the players they have on defense, but I don't know. If they get good quarterback play, they have a chance to be a top dog in this conference, but I'm not so sure that that's going to happen.
Well, what I really like here about what they're doing here is Charles Huff, their head coach. He wins 7 games last year. Nice job, goes bowling, does the good things. But more importantly, he slayed it in recruiting last year. They ranked 120th in the country the year before. This year they ranked 58th.
Wow.
Yes, that's a huge jump for a football program like this. And if they do show signs of success this football season, you can attribute it largely to what Charles Huff is doing with the program.
Marshall will be at Notre Dame week 2, so we'll find out how good Marshall is in a couple of weeks after the season begins. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, And Shadwell has done a tremendous job with this program. I understand that chances are there could be a drop because there's a lot of players that have left. But two things work in their favor. I think Shadwell has done such a good job recruiting that we're not talking about recruiting in the SEC. So I think he's done a good enough job recruiting that they can reload Sun Belt. And when you stick Grayson McCall at quarterback, and he's your guy every game, nobody's better on this. He, to me, and I don't know, I think he's around 6 or 7 right now as far as the NFL. I have him near the top. He might be one of my top 3 quarterback prospects in the NFL draft. I love this kid, and I think he's going to be a difference maker. I don't think the Coastal Carolina should be ranked any lower than second behind App State in that division. I think it's Coastal Carolina, App State, and Coastal Carolina will host App State on November 3rd. Unfortunately, Coastal does not play a big FBS opponent. Their top FBS opponent is Virginia.
Well, you mentioned Grayson McCall here. A little bit of Malik Willis-like in him, but he does a greater job of protecting the football. Only 3 interceptions last year. That's terrific. 27 touchdown passes and 3 picks. He's the real deal, as you mentioned here.
Oh, he's better than Willis. He's better than Willis. He's the real deal. Yeah.
His career path is kind of what I'm really relating to here. You've also got a football program here that is improving tremendously defensively. Look at their last 4 football seasons. 4 years ago, 452 yards a game. They sliced that 100 yards, and now they're 341 last year, 351 the year before, and 387. It's all Jamie Chadwell, and it's all because of the recruiting that he's doing. His recruiting has gotten better each and every year the past 4 football seasons here. What they're doing is not a fluke here right now with this football program here. And as you mentioned, that game against Appalachian State, I think, will be for the marbles to win this division.
All right, and then other teams in this division, there's 2 other. Actually, if you look at it, this is a really nice division. But there's a couple of teams that I like here. Georgia State, we mentioned. Sean Elliott's done a fantastic job with the Panthers. Very underrated program. Keep in mind, this was the team that should have knocked off Auburn last year. At Auburn, their quarterback situation is still fine. They get a senior there. Their defense is really the strength of this team. A lot of guys returning on defense, key guys. So 8-win team last year. I could see that again this year, and I definitely think that they are a contender. I think they're right there, and they're going to be hosting Coastal Carolina, and then they got to travel to App State. I actually have Georgia State over Marshall. I think they're right up there, just behind Coastal and App State in that division.
Well, the good news is they bring a lot of experience back here for this football program here, and a lot of that. They also hit the transfer portal pretty hard. Well, in fact, I got to reverse that. Okay, only 2 commits in the transfer portal. So it's the job that Sean Elliott's doing here, and what a great job that he's doing with this football program here. Very, very highly respected when he came in here. He's got 3 bowl eligible teams here the last 3 football seasons. Like you say, they could be a real sleeper team inside this conference this year. Their defense is one of those ones that step ladder defense gets better and better and better. If they can hold this defense to a sub 400 yard defense here this year, they can make a little bit more noise than people expect this year.
Yeah, and we're gonna know a lot about them early. At South Carolina, at Army, hosting North Carolina, and hosting Coastal Carolina. Those are 4 of their first 5 games. So that is a tough schedule. You know what? I think they host North Carolina. That's a scary game for North Carolina. So, and good for North Carolina. I mean, kudos for, I don't know when they set that up, but kudos for North Carolina to go to Appalachian State and Georgia State to open up their season. I mean, how awesome is that to let the little guys get a chance?
Well, you got to love that. It was a home and home in that series here for Georgia State and North Carolina this year. But you say North Carolina has to do that. They're the ones to agree to do that. And that's all Mac Brown. Mac Brown's all about leveling the playing field, making it college football an experience for the players here. And I love that. I love the fact that he's going to take his troops this year into Atlanta to play Georgia State.
Yeah, because most of the time it's all right. We'll pay you, and you come to our stadium, and that's it.
Right.
But I like it. They get the home and home deal. Old Dominion, another team to keep an eye on. The former Penn State head coach has done a tremendous job in just a very short period of time. I loved what they did last year. I was on board with those last several games. They were a money favor for me. They won their last 5 games to become bowl eligible and get there. Unfortunately, they didn't win the bowl game, but still, it was a nice story. They've got some talent on offense. Jennings and Watson and Kunz, the tight end, by the way, who it was a Penn State tight end, came over with their coach. Defensively, they lose a couple of key guys, but I think they're going to be fine. And this is why I think this is a very tough division. This is another team that is potentially going to be bowl eligible again.
Yeah, they're a football program that had 2 different seasons, the beginning and the end last year. I think they were 1-7 to start, and like you mentioned, 5-0 straight up into the spread to close the year. Ricky Rennie's done a great job with this football program here right now. He's got them back on the map. They got 17 starters back, 10 on offense here. This is a football team that I think inside the conference and the division, nobody's going to want to play this year. They're a sneaky good football team.
And by the way, Kuntz, the tight end, was one of the top tight end prospects in all of college football when he came out a few years back with Penn State. So they opened the season at home against Virginia Tech. You smell upset?
Upset.
Virginia Tech, new coaching staff?
Yeah, possibly. Why not? I mean, first of all, it's a state rival. They're the little kids in the block, the redheaded stepchild, Old Dominion is. Feeling awfully good about themselves, and Virginia Tech could well look past this football program here. That could well be an upset in the making.
Yeah, actually, they may not want to look past them because the last time Virginia Tech played at Old Dominion, they were a 27-point favorite, and Old Dominion beat them outright.
Oh, boy.
Then 2 years ago at Virginia Tech, it was a 14-point game, 28-point spread. So I don't think Virginia Tech's going to overlook Old Dominion.
Well, they're a 4-point favorite, so it's not like
there you go.
It's a given.
No more 28-point spreads.
No. Vegas respects Old Dominion. That's exactly what that tells you.
And then the other 2 teams, Georgia Southern, Clay Helton at head coach. So you like that. He's already brought in a ton of transfers, so they're going to be competitive and better. It's just too tough of a division, so it'll take a year or 2, but they're going to be better. James Madison is the one that's going to be intriguing because they have been like a powerhouse FCS program. They come into the FBS now at the Sun Belt, and you just know that they're going to be competitive. So that's again, I love this division. I think top to bottom, when you can have Clay Helton coaching the team that might be projected as the worst team in the division, you know you have a tough division.
First of all, Georgia Southern is what we call a mission team, okay? That's that team that went bowling 3 years in a row and had that losing season. They play with a vengeance the next year. That'll be Georgia Southern this football season with Clay Helton. You might not have liked him at Southern Cal, but the guy's a winner. He knows how to win football games. They could be very sneaky good this football season here, and they're very, very experienced this year. Georgia Southern is on the charts here. They ranked number 6 overall in the country in returning experience. So they can make some noise this football season here. I wouldn't be at all surprised about that. And you mentioned James Madison. I mean, my goodness, what a coup it is for James Madison to open up in this conference here. You would have thought basically that they'd have gone independent to open up, but no, they're going to go right into the conference. They're not eligible to win the conference. They can't do that just yet, but they'll play like every game like it's an FCS championship game because that's all they know how to do at James Madison is win football games. You got look at their wins here: 19, 28, 42 wins in the last 4 years for this football program here. They're not going to be intimidated by anybody at all in any game they play this year.
Yeah, and Kirk Cignetti, who will be in his 4th season, so his record 33-5. That's
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
nice.
That's
That's
not bad.
real nice. Yep.
Yeah. So
You know what
James
that's like? It's
Madison.
like Chris Kleiman when he was at
Yes.
North Dakota State. Exactly that same kind of a record.
Yeah. And they'll start with Middle Tennessee at home. They
Yep.
could be 2-0 start the season before they travel to App State. And if they start 2-0 and go to App State, that'd be a nice game.
Do they catch the App State after A&M?
It could be a couple of weeks after A&M.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether or not
Yeah,
App.
yeah, that's true because there's a week off between Norfolk State and Appalachian State. So
They play Troy in between.
okay, so that not quite exactly off of that
Yeah.
game.
But James Madison, at least they get a bye
Yep.
before App State, and App State has to play Troy.
To get ready, exactly.
Troy's not a pushover. We can actually begin with Troy in the other division because Troy will have a new head coach. So John Sumrall is their coach. Chip Lindsey gone, so Sumrall takes over. He's on the defensive side with Kentucky, and we know how good Kentucky's been lately. They needed a change because this used to be the dominant team in the old Sun Belt when it was a little smaller and less competitive. But still, there's talent here, especially on defense. There's loads of talent on defense, and you have a defensive coach. So the question is, can they find a little bit of offense?
I believe they can. This is a football program that's won 5 games 3 years in a row, 5-5-5. They make this nice coaching change coming in here. I think there's some things to like about this program here. They could be a little bit sneaky good this football season here. Their defense last year improved 70 yards a game last year in that 5-win season compared to the 5 wins the year before. So the defense, I think, will be rock solid for them. They've got a defensive-oriented head coach. They're a football team that could maybe win their 6 games and become bowl eligible.
Very tough first 5 games, including Mississippi and App State and Western Kentucky on the road to start off for Sumrall. Louisiana. So the Billy Napier run is over, and what a successful run it was. That's why he's at Florida. So this team won what? 34 games in 3 years and only 5 losses.
Yep, 34-5. It's almost like that Signetti coaching record.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Except Napier did it in the FBS.
Yes.
So Michael DeSormo takes over, and look, you're going to have a down situation here. It's just they were just too good. Players have transferred. Some of the players transferred and followed Napier to Florida. Most of the talent appears to be on defense, returning talent. But yeah, I just think it's one of those situations, and you get this a lot with these Group of 5 programs when that coach has that run and then he leaves. Unless he leaves the other coach stocked, then there's a drop off. And Billy Napier did not leave.
No, he left. He left the cupboard bare, is
Yeah.
what he left. He took the coaches. The players are gone.
He took everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason that he took that job because he knew he would have struggled a little bit this year, especially by his standard per se. The good thing about DeSormo is he's a former Raging Cajun all-conference quarterback. Okay, he was an assistant coach on this football team here. He became an interim coach for the Cajuns. When he left, Napier did. He coached that last bowl game for this football team. So there's a lot of friendliness, a lot to like about that. But it's a rebuilding process here for them this year, and they rank near the dead bottom as far as returning experience goes. Like I said, that cupboard is very, very bare for the Raging Cajuns this year.
What's going to help them is the division. See, this is the thing I don't like about the Sun Belt this year. They shouldn't have divisions this year because all the good teams are in one division, and the cupboard is almost bare in this division because you're going to have a down year from Lafayette. You have a first-year coach at Troy. Troy might actually be the team to beat in this division.
They might.
And you got Southern Miss and South Alabama and Arkansas State and Louisiana Monroe and Texas State. It's just, Southern Miss, second year under Will Hall. It did not go well in year 1 with 3 wins. Their quarterback situation was a mess. I don't think they're going to improve that much. South Alabama, Womack is back for a second year. Maybe I could see South Alabama being an intriguing team in this division. Texas State, Spividal is in his 4th season. I would give them an opportunity to improve. Arkansas State, of course, losing Blake Anderson is a big loss, and Butch Jones takes over for a year or two. So maybe there's something there. And Terry Bowden, you love what Terry Bowden did last year at ULM, beating Troy as a 23-point dog, beating Liberty as a 33-point dog. Good for Terry Bowden. So out of all those teams, I don't know. I'd probably say Texas State might intrigue me the most, maybe even South Alabama. What about you? Who do you like out of that group?
Well, I think that group is you could put a blanket over that group is what you could do, and
Dartboard.
whoever emerges. I don't know if ULM has got 2 good years in a row. I think Terry Bowden kind of snuck up
I
on
know, and they
them.
only won 4 games last year.
Yeah, yeah, and to ask them to do the same thing again this year, going into a couple of revenge spots, I don't think it's going to work for that program this year. Texas State might be a football team that could make a little bit of noise this football season here this year. But again, only because they bring a lot of returning experience back, and they won just 4 games last year, and they've inched their way up from 2 wins to 4.
Yeah.
Spavital's in his 4th year now. He's going to have to win here this year.
It's time. It's time to win.
It's time to win. So, with the experience coming back here, they could end up being that team that breaks through to the other side.